Hey guys, welcome back to No Sticks, No Bricks. This week's video, we say goodbye to our daughter and Soledad Canyon Thousand Trails and head north. We stop by a harvest host in a small town, California, and end up in San Benito Preserve Thousand Trails. So stick around, here we go.
We decided to do one last e-bike ride before we left Soledad Canyon.
Yeah, we found a 16.8 mile trail called the Santa Clara River Commuter Trail, and it was really pretty. It was cool.
It was very pretty.
The trail itself was paved the whole way, and it actually had a pedestrian lane. So you had the bike lane, and then you had a pedestrian lane. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was marked, so arrows for, bikes coming and going, I guess if you want to say it that way, and like the walking lane. It was all paved.
Play our favorite song, dancing to it all night long. With you I feel something, 'cause we're both so unashamed.
So there are a couple areas where you do have to cross traffic intersections, but nothing too major.
No, and they have bike detector signals, so that was kind of cool. And so just press the button, just like a crosswalk, just on your bike. A couple of them do say you have to get off and walk your bike across just due to some heavy traffic, but we went during the week and we didn't have any traffic whatsoever.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
It wasn't bad at all. We didn't have any close calls this time, unlike some other intersections we've had in the past where people don't pay attention. But
no, everybody behaved.
Everybody behaved. And then the river though is dry.
Yeah.
Most of California.
Yeah, unfortunately the drought is crazy. I was reading the Santa Clara River has not had water in a few years. So
it would have been more beautiful if there was some water there in that river.
Sure.
But the bike ride was still amazing.
Absolutely. And we had a big old snake cross right in front of us.
I'm glad it was in front of him, because I probably would have screamed and wrecked my bike or something.
Oh, no.
It was pretty big.
Yeah, it was big.
I stayed back once he saw it.
We don't have snakes in Alaska. So the following day, we decided to leave a day early and hit up a harvest host on the way to our next destination. Kind of split up the drive. It was going to be about 350 miles or so, and we weren't going to be seeing our daughter anymore at where we were, so it was time to move on anyway.
Yeah, in travel days, the dogs love it, because as you could tell, they
sleep.
They get to sleep. The littlest one, itty bitty, loves to just be on my lap, so she's strapped in though. She is secure, and she just kind of stays there on travel days. And then of course you can't see Allie Bell because she's sleeping in the back seat, and Axel, as in many other videos, he just has to keep an eye on Dad to make sure he's paying attention and
that's right,
not doing anything crazy while we're driving. So
all right, we have left Soledad Canyon and we are staying at a harvest host here in, I don't even remember the name of this town. Somewhere in California. I'll put it on the screen because I don't remember. It starts with a C, I know that. Anyway, we're staying at R.C. Baker Automotive Museum, which unfortunately right now is closed by the time we got here. However, they did offer to do a private tour, but they would have had to call somebody in, and we didn't want to be a bother. Anyway, we have the entire parking lot to ourselves. This place has got absolutely awesome reviews. The owner has been fantastic. We talked to him on the phone when we got here. We checked in. He said, hey, you got the whole lot to yourself. Have fun. Recommended some restaurants to go to. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Check this out.
Back in Tupelo in 1935, baby boy rocked the world, rhythm came alive. Here comes the king.
great. So this particular Harvest Host holds 2 slots, and we're the only ones here tonight. And what's really kind of cool about this spot is it's a flow-through parking design. You do not have to turn around, so you can pull in, park, and pull out the other side. So that's pretty handy when you got a big old fifth wheel like we do. Jen's in here getting set up. Well, what do you think of this little Harvest Host?
It's nice.
Yeah, you know, for an in-town Harvest Host, this is probably the nicest one we've been to.
Definitely.
Yeah. Of course, it's nice to go to, you know, like the wineries and the breweries and stuff that are out in the country.
I mean, that's kind of what I was hoping for, but
There
that's
just wasn't
okay.
any-
It just didn't happen.
Didn't have any along our route, but for an in-town Harvest Host, this thing is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Lots of room.
You know, just one night, so I don't set everything up at all. I just kind of just take out the necessities.
Yep, the
Otherwise,
basics.
Yes, the basics. Yep. Cell phone charger, so a little USB port. That's really all I need.
Yeah.
I don't have to take out my whole tray of
Entourage.
of stuff from the closet. Yeah.
And then we always try to eat local or support local when we're in little towns like this. This is just a tiny little town in California. So we're going to go hit up a local restaurant somewhere.
Somewhere, because the museum is closed. I guess it's reservation only. So the owner did say he could try to find someone to give us a tour, but we didn't want to have him have to try to worry about that. Right. And they're doing construction inside, it looks like. So.
But they do have a map that they made on their door of like different places to go eat.
Yep,
And-
he recommended the Salty Pickle. It's about a block or 2 up the road, so we might be able to walk to it or whatever. Just depends on how we feel once we get hungry a little bit later. So
Yeah, we'll go check it out. All right, so we are all set up. We're gonna go grab some food at the Salty Pickle. It's only about a 4-minute walk from here. It's pretty nice out.
yeah,
It's like 79. There must be a farm around here though.
because every once in a while the wind blows the right direction. You can smell it.
So I grew up on a pig farm in Iowa originally. And every time we'd smell it, my dad would be like, "Smells like money." What'd you get there, babe?
Asian chicken salad.
Yummy.
So far, so good.
Yeah. And I got the Philly cheesesteak. That was good.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was. Nice little, you know, mom and pop type place. Not very much as far as the menu goes, but what they did have on it, at least what we had, was really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
But the barbecue, you can only get Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's it.
So I was gonna get the barbecue.
I know.
Oops, that's okay though. My salad was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, this Philly cheesesteak was really good too. Now we gotta try to find something sweet.
So yes, on the hunt for something sweet.
What?
Oh
You
no!
dropped our
I dropped
dessert.
dessert.
So what do we get?
Like 2
Smashed.
a churro that's filled with caramel. I guess.
Yum.
And these 2, they're like a Mexican
Strawberry.
pastry with strawberry cream cheese, I guess, filling.
So that was a traditional Mexican
Bakery.
bakery. Yeah.
Oh, and it was only $4.50.
Yeah.
And those things are huge.
Ooh, they're gonna be yummy.
Yeah. I guess I'll eat this half.
You can tell these are homemade.
That was very good.
Really good. You know, this winter, we're going to be down by Yuma, where we plan to cross the border into Mexico to get some dental work done. Can't wait to eat down there then. Those pastries were good.
They were delicious. They hit the spot.
Oh yeah. So the next day, we left the Harvest Host and headed toward Thousand Trails San Benito, and Wow, the road that we took to get there. Keep in mind, this is our RV GPS. We got a Garmin RV 890, and this is the route it took us.
Those roads were narrow. There were signs along the way, like warning, like not advising, like big trailers, 18-wheelers, anything with more than 3 axles.
Right.
But we were like, well, the Garmin has us going that way.
And we saw a few semis on that road. Funny enough, we were passing another RVer that was hauling a big toy hauler.
Yeah.
So we both stopped, rolled down our windows, and we're like, the conversation kind of went like this. This is fun. Oh, yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
Does it get any better that way? No, not really. Yeah, not our way either.
Yeah, I wasn't driving, but it was nerve-wracking just being the passenger. I just have to, trying to help look out, making sure we're not too close to the edge, because sometimes it'd be a drop-off, and then if any other big vehicle came, it definitely was nerve-wracking.
Right. But, it was a beautiful drive.
It was beautiful.
It was absolutely gorgeous. Big canyons on either side, mountains, farmland. It was beautiful.
It did add an hour to our travel time because max speed at some point was
35, 40 miles an hour at the most.
We saw cows and goats and...
Yeah. And so we had an 85-mile-an-hour day, and 75 miles of it was doing 35, 40 through a canyon road.
Yeah.
We would recommend taking I-5 out of Coalinga towards San Benito instead of Highway 198 because,
I think it would add maybe a couple extra minutes to your time. However, your stress level would be less.
Much lower.
Much lower.
Let's talk power. Is our current system big enough for our needs? So here's what we've got. We've got 4 12-volt, 100 amp hour Battleborn lithium batteries for a total of 400 amp hours. We've also got 3 300-watt Jaboni solar panels on top of our roof. Now, to regulate the power coming from those solar panels to our batteries, we've got a Victron 150 volt / 70 amp solar charger, meaning it can take in as many as 150 volts and 70 amps. However, you don't want that much going to your batteries, so what that solar charger does is reduces that voltage and amperage down to a proper voltage in amps to charge your batteries correctly. Now, there are 3 different states of charge for the Battleborn batteries that we have. The first one is a bulk charge, and that's when your batteries are low and they need as much voltage as they can to get them charged up. So it's typically between 14.2 and 14.6 volts. 14.4 volts is the sweet spot that Battleborn is aiming for. So the charger will adjust the applied voltage up and down in order to achieve the maximum amount of current to the batteries to start that bulk charge when they're low. Once the bulk voltage is reached, it'll then go into its second stage, which is called the absorption charge. During this stage, the charger actually keeps the voltage steady instead of adjusting it up and down, slowly decreasing the amount of current that goes to the battery, basically topping them off. The final stage is float charge, and that's basically just keeping those batteries charged up. It's very important with lead acid batteries because once you remove the charge on the lead acid batteries, the voltage drop very quickly. Not so much with lithium. So float is very important with lead acid batteries. Somewhat important for lithium batteries. Lithium batteries will hold their charge a lot longer. However, the float does just keep them topped off at maximum voltage. We also have a smart shunt, which allows us to monitor our entire system as far as battery voltage goes. It monitors the amount of current that we're using, the amount of power and draw that we are using in our system, as well as what's going in. So it's what's going out, like if we're running the microwave, running the dryer, whatever. And at the same time, if it's sunny out and our solar panels are sending power back to the batteries, it's monitoring that as well. So and then it combines them together to tell us exactly what percentage of life our batteries have left. So the smart shunt is pretty cool in that factor. And then the inverter that we have that powers our entire system is the Victron Multi Plus 2 3000 watt inverter. And we have really loved this inverter so far. Now the kind of neat thing about the Multi Plus 2 inverter that separates it from other inverters is you can put 2 legs of 120 volt power into this one inverter. Instead of running a separate leg of power to its own inverter, this inverter will actually take both of them. It will also perform an assist function, which we use a lot when we're on 30 amp service. If you're hooked into 30 amp service and you exceed 30 amps, the inverter will start drawing battery power to supplement whatever you need. So if you need 40 to 45 amps and you're hooked into 30 amp, as long as you have the battery power and capacity, it will be just like your hookup to 50 amp service. It's wonderful. Right now, we're hooked into 30 amp service. This morning we had the dryer going, air fryer. We had our fireplace going, made some coffee. That's a lot of power being drawn at one time. And our inverter went into assist mode. And we can monitor that on an app because we have what's called a smart dongle. For some reason, when Victron made their inverters, they didn't make them Bluetooth enabled. So you can't just hook up to the inverter by itself through the Victron app. You have to have the smart dongle, which isn't a huge deal. It's just a kind of a pain to have to, get an extra part. 900 watts of power, one 3,000 watt inverter, 400 amp hours of lithium batteries. Is that enough? So far, I'd say the answer is yes. It has been enough, but it really depends on your needs. Let's take, for example, yesterday. We stayed at a Harvest Host. We got there about 3:30 in the afternoon. It was a sunny day. It was about a 200-mile drive from our last RV park. So, 3-4 hour drive. And when we left the RV park, we put our refrigerator onto propane. We do have our RV fridge, and we put our water heater onto propane as well to conserve power because we knew we were boondocking. So we drove all that way to the Harvest Host, stayed all night. That night, we ran a fan on high. I wear a CPAP all night, so that was running. We were charging our cell phones. Basically, everything that we normally use, we had on. When we woke up the next morning, our batteries were still about 60% full. So for overnight boondocking, this system is perfect. You can pretty much just carry on with normal daily activities and not even know you're not hooked up to power. Now here's a situation where we wish we did have a bigger system, like a lot of people do. Quartzsite, for example, when you're boondocking out of quartzsite for, let's say, a week and it's hot and you want to run air conditioners during the day and then run everything you normally run at night without ever starting your generator. You just can't do that with our system. We could run one air conditioner for 2 or 3 hours. But remember, we only have one 3,000 watt inverter, so we're still maxed out at 3,000 watts regardless when we're boondocking. It would be nice to have a bigger system with more battery capacity, more solar panels, more inverters, but we do boondock quite a bit. However, it's usually short durations, 1 or 2 nights, maybe 3 or 4 nights at the most. But if you're going to be boondocking for a week, 2 weeks, months, then you're definitely going to want a bigger system than what we have. Some lessons learned that we would have did differently. When we ordered our 2021 Grand Design Momentum 397, we ordered it with the factory solar package. It came with one Jaboni 300 watt panel and a 2,000 watt Magnum inverter. So what I discovered later is that the Magnum inverter does not properly charge lithium batteries. We had put in the Battleborn batteries right away. Before we even picked up the rig, they were already installed. Before we picked up the rig, we had the dealer install 2 more 300 watt Jaboni panels, which have been great panels. We have no complaints about the panels whatsoever besides one thing, their price. In comparison to other 300 watt panels, they are way higher. So I would encourage you to do your own research prior to purchasing panels for your RV. The Jaboni panels have been great. Like I said, no complaints. They just seem to be overpriced compared to other 300 watt panels. However, with our 300-watt solar panel, so a total of 900 watts, a couple times we have exceeded that. They've actually exceeded their rating. We've got over 1,000 watts of solar power at least 3 times that I can remember. So pretty happy about that. All right, guys, that's it for this week. We still have a couple more days here at Thousand Trails San Benito Preserve, and next week we are heading to Yosemite. We are super excited about that. Can't wait to hit up that national park. Safe travels to everyone out there, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.